Hello, good evening, everyone. Looks like it's time to finally, hopefully, finish the final chapter of Ace Attorney Investigations. So far, we have we're investigating John's kidnapping, as well as Sebastian's. Apparently, we already rescued him. Apparently, he was kidnapped at the behest of his own father. So yeah, with that, let's get going. Okay. We gotten to this point when it was late and I'd gotten pretty tired. So I think what we want here let's see. Shows the garbage truck John was kidnapped in was real. Yeah, because we found his spilled milk carton here. The garbage pickup area is locked. Ah, only a real garbage collector could have unlocked it to collect the trash. Precisely. We should assume that a genuine garbage truck was used. For example, the kidnapper could have put John into a large cardboard box. The box was mixed in with the rest of the bulk waste. The garbage collector would have carried John away without even knowing it. Exactly. The culprit would then lie in wait at the garbage dump. And if they said, "I threw it away by mistake," the box would be returned to them. Any garbage dumps nearby? Let's see. There's two of them. Dawn Waste Center and Dusk Waste Management. Could there be a hint in any of the information I hold? Let's see, let's stop. Asking around. Okay, Dick doesn't have anything new. Suspected of Mr. Edgeworth. How'd you find him? Naturally, it was all thanks to his powers of logic and reasoning. Actually, it was just a coincidence. Guess we weren't any help at all, were we? Don't be silly, of course you helped. Really, thanks a lot. Were you guys searching, Simon? It was a bit far off, but we searched around the Sunshine Coliseum. Sunshine Coliseum. So they were by the shore. There were a lot of people at the event there, so I thought he might have gone as well. An event? Sounds like fun. Is it a festival? I want to go too. It's a lot of fun. There were food stands, fireworks, and much more. Yeah, we had been there, I think, before too. Simon got worn out by all the people in the crowd pretty quickly, though. You didn't have to tell them that. It's settled. Once we wrap up this case, let's all go there. At any rate, I'm glad you were able to find him so quickly. Why is that? Truth is, our circus show is about to start soon. so I don't think we would have been able to help out with the search much longer. Sorry to burden you with this when you also needed to prepare for your performance. No, it's okay. Please don't worry about it. After all, I also didn't want to get arrested again. I'm so relieved you were able to find him, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, but the warden still hasn't been declared guilty yet. What? So you're saying there's still a chance I might be arrested? No way. Okay, please don't tease him. Gina, have anything new to say? Even though Regina also searched with her friends, we were beaten to the punch. By friends, does she mean her animals? Most likely. If I recall correctly, wasn't the very big circus supposed to have a performance today? Yep, that's right. You've all been practicing a lot for this upcoming performance. Will Simon also be performing? Of course. He's been practicing really hard, even though he keeps saying no way. He even rode in a balloon and did lots of advertising for us. So, Mr. Edgeworth, you should also come by and see Simon's heroics. Very well. That is, if we're able to successfully solve this case. It sounded like you were saying you used animals in your search. Yep, I thought we'd be able to find him if I used Regent and St, but Simon said no way, and stopped me. No fun. Simon hadn't been there. There probably would be a mass panic right about now. Simon, why'd you stop her? It would have made the city more fun, like the circus. Yeah, the tiger and an elephant running around. Mr. Edgeworth, please forgive me. Why is he apologizing to me? I haven't said anything. Let's see, what logic do we have now? 3 footprints of the scene. The sound of an explosion was heard during the call from the kidnapper. Event at the Coliseum. So if there were fireworks or something, could that have been the explosion that was heard? Mr. Keyes, didn't you say there were fireworks at the Coliseum earlier? Huh? What about them? Were those fireworks set off during the day? Yeah. Even while we were there, a bunch of them were set off. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? That explosion sound we heard at the end of the kidnapper's phone call. Could very well have been the fireworks. Ah! Don't think you can get away with this. Then come and get me. I'll be looking forward to it. That is, if you can bring me to justice. But I highly doubt that. For the sound to have been picked up by the phone, it must have been fairly loud. That means the culprit was near the Coliseum. Even so, I bet the fireworks could be heard in lots of places around the Coliseum. Indeed, it would be impossible for us to search the entire area by ourselves. If only we could have the police lend us a hand. Oh look, the Danganronpa culprit. So if he was at the garbage dump closest to the Coliseum, Based on the explosion sound we heard from the kidnapper's phone, we know that John is being confined someplace in the vicinity of the Coliseum. And that one of the garbage dumps is right next to the Coliseum. Right. John was almost certainly taken there. In which case, the place he's being confined to must also be somewhere close by. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir! Could I ask you to search the area around this garbage dump? You don't have to ask me like we're strangers, sir. It feels so distant. Please just order me around like you normally do. Are you sure, Detective? Right now, I'm not a prosecutor. Didn't I tell you, sir? Detectives don't just investigate for the sake of prosecutors. You have my thanks, Detective. Mr. Edgeworth, look, it's almost time. Yes. About time for the court to reconvene. Or rather, yes, it would be best if we hurry. They should also be at their limit. Detective Gumshoe, I'm counting on you. Leave it to me, sir. This may be an unofficial investigation. But I'll call in all my pals from the station to help. I'll help too. Stealing John back is my job, after all. I'll be returning to the courtroom. I might be able to draw out some more time. Okay, well then, even in the depths of night. The clock just struck 2. We have to hurry. Yes, sir! Oh, my introduction! When no other bird dares to take flight! Yeah, so Ray, Francie, and Justine are trying to draw this out as long as they can. Well, well, well. Is this former Prosecutor Edgeworth? Place to best. Witness, face forward. We're not done talking yet. Like I said, you see. Why exactly would I have needed to help that person out, Your Honor? You know, it's a crying shame. Having a beautiful woman declared guilty, honestly, brings tears to my eyes. But you see, there's no reason for me to go out of my way to hide evidence just to save her. However, we still have the testimony of your son, Prosecutor DeBest. He testified that he handed the evidence over to you. Well, I have the slightest clue what he was talking about. I simply can't imagine why Sebastian would have said something like that, you know. Yeah, because the kidnapper is holding John hostage, and the ransom is the acquittal of, Patty. For what reasons, we don't know yet. What if there's evidence that shows your connection with Warden Roland? And just what do you think you're doing, former Prosecutor Edgeworth? I was under the impression that you were no longer in any position to stand in court. Mindless Edgeworth, how dare you barge into my prosecutor's bench? Francisca, I'm sorry. I need you to lend me the bench for a little while. What are you saying? Judge Courtney, I brought vital evidence related to this case. Your Honor, please allow me to testify. She'd never allow it.
Objection!
Courtney Pie, Uncle Ray also asks that he be allowed to testify. There are no objections from the prosecution either, right? Understood. The prosecution also has no objections.
Objection.
There's no way you can allow something like this, you know. Such high-handed methods. Surely are enough to warrant being held in contempt of court. What do you say, Courtney? As long as John is still in danger, Judge Courtney can't rule against the warden. I must convey to her somehow that the search for her son is progressing. Judge Courtney, I ask that you have faith in me and my assistant. Now that you mention it, where exactly is she? She's currently out searching for the most important piece of evidence.
Objection.
It's a waste of time. There's no such evidence. Are you stalling for time? How disgraceful.
Objection.
Most important piece of evidence, huh? Courtney Pie? I don't really know what that evidence is, but I think we should have faith in her. After all, even if she may not look it, she's still the great Viviata Garasu. Somehow it seems that Mr. Shields understands. Judge Courtney, we've already determined the general location of that evidence. It's only a matter of time before she steals that evidence back. I understand. Then I shall give you special permission to testify. Thank you, Your Honor. This is ridiculous! This vital piece of evidence that you have found, please present it to the court. Blaise the Best and Patricia Rowland are somehow connected. Allow me to present the evidence that proves it. See, where was it? How was this? Yeah. I'm all but certain there's a connection between Knightley and Dogen. Dogen's chess partner, whose identity remained unknown until now, was actually Knightley all along. That's proof enough. Tomorrow I shall interrogate him in the warden's office. I'll get him to confess that he's one of Dogen's henchmen. That thing he laid to rest in front of you on the flower... He laid to rest in front of the flower bed 12 years ago. You simply must retrieve it.
Take that!
This document contains a detailed report regarding the interrogation of a certain man. A certain man? That man being the late Horace Knightley. And the one who interrogated him was the defendant in this trial, Patricia Rowland. So that means that the that was the interrogation where... That's right. Patricia Rowland murdered Knightley in the aftermath of the interrogation. And that very interrogation has been recorded in this written report. That definitely sounds like vital evidence. Miles Edgeworth, just now you referred to that document as a written report. Now, just who in the world was that report written for? I thought you might ask that, Francisca. And that's precisely what's most important about this report. We found this document inside the safe in the storeroom on the 51st floor of the Grand Tower. The 51st floor? The storeroom for the black market auction. Indeed. And the conductor of the auction was you, Blaise the Best. You received a report about the victim from Warden Roland. In the face of this evidence, can you still say you have no connection to this case? In regards to that, I refuse to answer. What? It has yet to be proven in court that I was the conductor of the black market auction. Oh, have you already forgotten the events of this morning? I believe I had already proved it back then, did I not? I will not deny that I was bested by you. However, that was at the crime scene. Who knows if the results will be the same in court? An acquittal is still possible, you see. Until it's been proven in court that I am the conductor of the black market auctions. You can't prove that document was addressed to me. Your logic is twisted. That's not very nice, you know. My logic isn't twisted, is it, Courtney? Don't you feel the same way? It was quite unlike you to allow former Prosecutor Edgeworth's statement just now, you know. It saddens me, you see, that you would fail to uphold the law as a judge should. In fact, I'm so upset by this, I may have no other choice but to use my last resort, you know. It is as you say. Something that has not been proven in court does not merit any deliberation. I will have to overrule Mr. Edgeworth's claim. As I thought, until John has been rescued. See, the truth at the scene and the truth in the courtroom are two very different things. So you're saying the truth can be distorted in court as long as it's for your sake? What a horrible thing to say. I'm not distorting the truth or anything like that, you know? If a not guilty verdict is handed down, then that becomes the truth. That's all it is, you see? It's useless. There's nothing we can do unless the missing evidence turns up. Now then, Courtney, why don't you deliver a not guilty verdict and let's get this over with? After all, that evidence isn't going to show up anytime soon, you know?
Objection!
Who raised an objection just now? Oh. Sebastian. Pops! Sebastian? Why did you come back here now of all times? Sebastian, what is the meaning of this? Just where were you and what have you been doing since you abandoned your own trial? I'm sorry, I was, Such an act is unbecoming of a prosecutor. You should be ashamed. Well... Sebastian, you still don't get it, you know. The court has no place for a sniveling child such as yourself. Pops, I've come to present new evidence, Your Honor. So please, let me take my place back at the prosecutor's bench. Sebastian, I didn't think you would come back.
Objection!
What's all this now, Sebastian? You don't seem at all like your normal self. Pops! Come now, what's the matter? You want Daddy to play with you? Is that it? Well, why don't we just head on back home? Return to the witness stand. wrong? You're shaking like a leaf.
Objection!
Your Honor? The prosecutor officially in charge of this case has just arrived with new evidence. The trial is still in session. In light of this, shouldn't we continue with the proceedings? Naturally, the defense has no objections, Your Honor. I'm sure the defense attorney originally in charge would say the same. The prosecution has no objections either, Your Honor. Continue the proceedings? That won't be necessary. Isn't that right, Courtney? Blaze still believes that he was the one who kidnapped John. As long as John still hasn't been found, Judge Courtney will remain bound by Blaze, and nothing else will change that. That sound is her cell phone. My phone as well. Uncle Ray's phone is also. Mr. Edgeworth! Mr. Shields! Ah, they found him. We found John, sir! We rescued John! Excellent work, Detective. That kid was the most important piece of evidence, right? Way to go, Kay. I wanted to spread the word quickly, so I had everyone call. Judge Courtney, it's for you. Yes, I see. I'm so glad you're safe. Make sure you properly thank everyone, okay? Be careful and come home safe. Let us resume the proceedings. Now that I may once again swing my gavel to my heart's content. Huh. You're kidding, right? This is just a sad joke, you know. Witness, this is no joke. Please return to the stand. Prosecutor DeBest as well. Promptly return to your seat at the prosecutor's bench. Yes, Your Honor. Sebastian DeBest. Yes, Miss Von Karma. I leave the rest to you. Huh? Going up against your own father, it won't be easy. I shall observe how things pan out. From the gallery. Now then, allow me to ask once more. Is the prosecution ready? Prosecutor DeBest, what is this new evidence you wish to present? The missing knife and chisel, Your Honor. You mean they've finally been found? Ah. Prosecutor DeBest, is this true? The knife and chisel. I wasn't able to find them. Oh, dude, what did... I searched and searched, I really did, but it was already too late. Too late? What do you mean? I remembered this morning when I passed my pops in the garage at home. He was holding something wrapped in a newspaper. Pops, where are you going? Ah, Sebastian. Just taking out some trash. At that moment, I heard it. The faint sound of a bell. Could that sound have been by any chance the bell attached to Dogen's chisel? In other words, you're saying the witness threw away the evidence? I searched for it, but I didn't make it in time. I'm sorry. Where exactly did you search for it? The garbage dump. Oh. I went to the garbage dump and searched everywhere. I thought the evidence Pops threw away had to be there. Isn't that Sebastian? What are you doing here? Oh! He ignored us. So at that time he had gone to the garbage dump. But... this was all I could find. This is... smells rather peculiar. Well, it was... Now that you mention it, there's kind of a funky smell coming from you as well. What did you expect? I was digging through garbage. And what of the knife? I think it's buried somewhere in that giant mountain of trash. But I couldn't find it by myself. I understand. I shall accept this into evidence. What the hell is it? Well done, Sebastian. You never betray my expectations, you know. You searched so desperately through the garbage, and that's all you have to show for it? Oh, what a tearjerker. I'm tearing up already.
Objection.
It's a bit too early for tears, don't you think? We haven't examined the evidence properly yet. I think it's just a pointless waste of time, you know? I'm counting on you, Sebastian, Miles. Show him that the truth can be exposed in court and take him down. Mr. Shield is backing us up. Now all we need is a breakthrough. Prosecutor DeBest, let's take a closer look at the evidence. Right. Let's have a look inside. It'd be great if we could find some kind of proof. A bell. This is the bell that was attached to Dogen's chisel. Are there any traces left behind on it? It's no good. There's not even a single smudge on it. What did you find, Prosecutor DeBest? Did you even find anything? Darn it! Of course you'd find nothing. Something like that can't be called evidence, you know. All it is trash. It may be sad, but that's the truth, you see. Were Sebastian's efforts all for naught? Indeed, the bell doesn't seem to be valid evidence. However... Mr. Edgeworth, are you really giving up? Calm as always, Edgeworth. Quite unlike Sebastian here. Well then, is the prosecution finished with its argument?
Objection!
Christine, not yet. We're not through yet. There's still something we haven't examined. You're still not giving up? Struggling in vain's not cute at all, you know. Seems Sebastian hasn't given up yet either. I was just thinking the exact same thing. The last item remaining. Is it trash or is it evidence? If we don't examine it, we'll never find out. The item I'm thinking of is... We don't have the knife. The bell. The bell they already said was completely clean. What about the newspaper itself? We're still not done examining the newspaper that the bell was wrapped in. Seems that Sebastian has the same idea as I do. Wow, this is just wonderful, you know. So wonderful it's to cry for. Is it desperation, or simply reckless abandon? Are you really going to pin all your hopes on a worthless scrap of newspaper? We won't know for sure whether or not it's worthless until we examine it, will we? Sebastian, let's examine it post-haste. Oh, what? There's letters on it. Is this a handprint? There's something greasy on here too. Is it oil? Not only that, but... Judge Courtney, we'd like to request a fingerprint analysis on this paper. That wasn't... The first thing I noticed were those letters. And yeah, they do form a handprint. And didn't we... Yep. Yep, those were his gloves. Could you please summon someone from forensics? Your request is accepted. Contact the lab at once. Reporting. These are definitely fingerprints. However, it's from a glove. What? Are you that surprised? Didn't I tell you? It's nothing but a worthless scrap of paper. Just think about it, you know. When handling important evidence, what kind of idiot wouldn't use gloves? Oh wait, wouldn't that be you? The idiot who doesn't know when to give up? That's pretty harsh, talking to your son like that. What's wrong with calling an idiot an idiot? Jeez, this guy. If you want to be the best, you have to be heartless. I have no compassion for worthless individuals, not even my own son. Pops, You know, you've always called yourself a genius prosecutor, haven't you? Didn't I explain to you this morning why you were a genius up until now? That's right. It was all because of me. Because of my authority. You were always being protected by people like Courtney and me. Now get that stinking face of yours out of my sight. I can't screw this guy. Stinking? You know, now that I think about it, that stench might just suit you perfectly. Just keep it away from my nose, or my eyes will start watering. Wrong. You're wrong, Pops. Sebastian, what are you talking about? Good, is he gonna stand up to him now? You're the one who stinks, Pops. It's you, not me. What? You haven't noticed, have you? You smell, Pops. So much and you can't even hide it. Mr. Edgeworth, try smelling the handprint on the newspaper. The smell. Smells like oil. I know something that smells just like it. Come to think of it, back then, it smells like motor oil. Maintaining that motorcycle must be Blaze's hobby. That's right, the smell proves it. It proves that the culprit who hid the evidence was... It's no good. I guess I can't become the best after all. Huh? Why are you stopping now? I'm too soft. I can never be so heartless. I just can't bring down my father with my own hands. Prosecutor to best. Summon your courage. Become a different prosecutor from your father. Wasn't that what you decided? We're prosecutors, and as prosecutors, we stand in the courtroom. In that case, isn't it our duty to shed light on the truth? Exposing crimes and bringing criminals to justice, even if the criminal is your own father. That is your duty as a prosecutor. Didn't I promise you that if you have the courage to stand up, I will show you the way? And if you cannot do it alone, then we shall do it together. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Allow me to present the evidence that connects this handprint with my father. Here we go.
Take that!
This is the smell of motor oil, the kind used for maintaining motorcycles. Both myself and Mr. Edgeworth have smelled this exact same smell before. Blaze to best, it was in your garage. And wouldn't you say these fingerprints have a rather peculiar shape? The 5 letters that spell out death. It's exactly the same as your own gloves.
Objection.
You can buy gloves like that from anywhere. It doesn't prove a thing.
Objection.
Is that really the case? That's not the only thing that these two pieces of evidence have in common. The fingerprints on the newspaper that was used to wrap up the bell. And Blaze's mechanics gloves. Oh, okay. This is the unmistakable similarity they both share. That faded letter A.
Take that!
If you examine the imprint left by the letter A, you'll see it's unmistakably from this glove. What? Oh. Don't burn your beard again. Yeah, he did manage to get himself a new fake beard rather quickly, didn't he? And that's not all. There is one more item we must take note of, namely those dirt stains. I suggest we do a comparative analysis of the dirt stains from the newspaper and the glove. If the contents match up, then it will prove to be decisive evidence. Bailiff, please have these dirt samples sent to forensics for analysis immediately. Ugh! Edgeworth? Sebastian? You lowly prosecutors. Do you have any idea who I am? Pops, you can't run away anymore. It's been proven in court that you concealed the evidence. And that you tried to cover for the defendant. You're saying that I'm guilty? That I'll be sent to prison? Me, Blaze to Best? A couple of snot-nosed punks are gonna make me disappear? There must be some mistake. Be a man and admit your crimes.
Objection.
Do you really think you can survive if I'm not around? I'll be fine now. I thought I wanted to become the best prosecutor, so I could get your approval, Pops. But when I was kidnapped by your men, and stuck in that dark room, I started thinking. I am truly powerless. I despaired, and averted my eyes from the truth, but... At that moment, Mr. Edgeworth stepped in, and showed me the way. And now, I'm no longer just a child chasing after his father's approval. I've become capable. I can find evidence all on my own now. What? My men kidnapped you? Why were you... There was a mix-up, wasn't there? Pops, I'll show you the truth you never knew through this trial. Sebastian, how dare you speak to me like that? You should have just stayed as an idiot son. You may have hated me to the very end, Pops. But I've always looked up to you. Thank you for everything up until now. And goodbye. You. Since when did you... All you've ever been able to do is depend on me! Sebastian! It's been established that the evidence was concealed by Blaze to Best himself. A judgment regarding his concealment of evidence shall be delivered at a separate trial. The missing chisel and knife still have yet to be found. However, once a search of the waste disposal site is underway, they will surely be discovered. The knife will be found? What'll happen to me if it's found? No need to worry. You'll simply receive the punishment you deserve for your crime. Punishment? For me? Blaze, what in the world are you doing? You... After all your boasting about being able to create your own truths and not guilty verdicts. That's why I contacted you immediately after the prison incident in the first place. And to make matters worse, you even kidnapped the wrong kid. I just can't believe this. Okay. So, somehow John and Sebastian got mixed up. Really are completely useless! That was certainly a violent outburst, but you heard her, Prosecutor to Best. Yeah. She got flustered and said a bunch of important stuff, right? Indeed. That's correct. He still doesn't seem very sure of himself. Very well. And with that, the court is adjourned.
Not so fast!
Huh? Who are you? Oh, Lang. Judge Courtney, it's still too early for a happy ending. Lang Z says the end of the trial is not always the end of the case. And who might you be? The name's Shilong Lang. I'm just a humble lone investigator. You have some objection with this trial? Ha! Not a chance. The defendant there has a heart as black as a moonless night. Lang, don't tell me you're the one from 12 years ago. You got it. Ain't this nice? Now you're finally going to prison where you belong. 12 years is a long time coming for a suspended sentence, don't you agree? Agent Lang, what are you talking about? The Ss5 incident from 12 years ago. It's a case I'll never forget. 12 years ago. Well, a lot has changed. It all happened over 12 years ago. When Mr. President there was, when he was disgraced, no, Lang's family was disgraced. Is that right? Back then, he and my father were close friends, and our clan protected the president's life. But then he suddenly changed. It's as if he became an entirely different person. Nowadays, he doesn't even have a shred of faith in the police force of Zhang Fa. 12 years ago. I wonder what went on then. Might it have something to do with Lang's father, President Wong? Trisha Rowland, and you, Blaze to Best. Back then, the two of you killed off the Lang clan. Were you involved in the incident 12 years ago? That's right, I was. However, I'm not here to chase after ghosts of the past. I'm here for you, Justine Courtney. Me? You and one other. John! Miss Courtney, you're coming along too. As a suspect in the murder of the president of Zhang Fa, Dijun Wong.
Objection!
Oh, right. That's right, he still suspects her. Agent Lang, what evidence do you...
Not so fast!
Settle down, Mr. Prosecutor. The investigation has only just begun. We're going to inspect the crime scene with the suspects in attendance. Agent Lang, did he get his hands on some new pieces of evidence? If you have any objections, then you can tag along as well. I shall do just that. The end of the trial is not always the end of the case. There's still many mysteries yet unsolved surrounding the murder of the president. Namely, the true nature of the giant monster, and...
Come and get me. I'll be looking forward to it. That is, if you can bring me to justice. But I highly doubt that.
The true identity of the person on the other side of the phone. Okay, now we've officially ended this part. Alright, so with that, give me a sec and we will keep on going. Alright, let us continue. So it looks like we managed to get Patty's conviction. And I think that I remember when she told us that line about how she did it because Dogan threatened her to do it. I'm thinking that wasn't the case. It had more to do with this incident from 12 years ago involving the Lang clan. Speaking of, Lang still suspects Justine of being the culprit of the murder here. So, let's continue with this. Now there's Wolverine again. Could you please give it a rest already? The heck? I'm telling y'all, it's best for y'all's sake to come clean. The staff has their lips sealed shut as the reporters continue their tenacious negotiations. What the hell are they arguing about? If you're not here to cooperate with the investigation, I must ask you to vacate the premises. Put a sock in it, Copper. You couldn't even stop Mozilla's invasion. Not only did they secretly raise a giant monster, but now the staff is trying to cover it up. Like I said, we haven't even been raising any monsters here at the film lot. But ain't you said you done saw Gordy yourself? Sure, I saw it, but it's not like we were keeping it at the film lot. Yeah, what was up with that, what she saw? We should probably ask John about that when we get a chance. Mind if we butt in? Ah, Mr. Edgeworth. And John. Oh, y'all come here to search for the monster too? We're searching for a criminal, not a monster. Lang Z says, the darkness inside a criminal's heart can be likened to a monster. Well, when it comes to killing people, criminals aren't much different from monsters. Agent Lang, this is a problem. I can't let outsiders enter the crime scene. These are all key figures in the case. I'd like them to be here when the investigation resumes. Agent Lang, regarding what you said about resuming the investigation, where do you intend to start? We'll start by reviewing the case. Today, the body of President Wong was found here at the film lot. The President's whereabouts from 2 nights ago were still unknown. It seems he snuck out from under the eyes of his bodyguards and ventured outside. And that night was the last time he was seen alive. It was when he met with you, Judge Courtney, on the roof of the Grand Tower. So why did you meet with the President? That I cannot say. You can't tell us, even under suspicion of murder? Can't say. Why not? Miss Courtney, if you don't say anything, you'll only be more suspicious. Ha! She must have a reason to clam up. I think you're somehow involved in the President's assassination. The President's body was only discovered today. That's still leaves a blank of 1 whole day after Judge Courtney met with him unaccounted for.
Not so fast!
Don't be so impatient. We're gonna fill in that blank right here, right now. The evening on that blank day in question is what's important. What happened here last night? So why don't you tell us, John Marsh? Me. We know you were here last night. What? John was here? Between that little Missy's testimony and the footprints we found, we can easily prove it. John, you were rehearsing here last night, right? You were spying on me? I'm sorry. I just came to check up on things. You really shouldn't be staying up so late, you know. Mind your own business. Oh. Oh. Mommy whipping him into shape. John Marsh, that young lady was worried about you. You will not speak to her like that. Sorry. How many times have I told you to be more mindful of the way you speak? Is it just me, or does Miss Courtney's personality seem kinda different? She seems to be as strict with her own son as she is with those who violate the law. Are you listening to me? And earlier as well. You should always bear that in mind, no matter the occasion.
Not so fast!
Can we get on with the investigation already? Ah, pardon me. For Judge Courtney to get carried away like that. This must be your motherly side. Agent Lang, do you suspect John? All I want is the truth. Why was the president killed? And I want to know who killed him. I'll do whatever it takes to find out. It seems the president was like family to him. Well, he did say he was a close friend of the family. John, would it be alright if we ask you a few questions? Sure, it's fine. I've got nothing to hide anyway. I wasn't feeling too great during yesterday's shoot, so I made a few bloopers. They're reshooting the scene today, so... Well, I decided to rehearse a little on my own, that's all. I do it all the time. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary. You were rehearsing alone that late at night? John, when I called you last night, you told me you were at the hotel. You called him. About what time was that? I believe it was around 11 p.m. I require him to call me every night. That's our rule whenever he stays away from home. The truth is, I was at the film lot during that time. So you lied to me? I'm sorry. Miss Courtney sure is angry. I think it's admirable that he practiced on his own, even if he hid it from his mom. I'm sure she was simply worried. Who knows what could have happened to him out alone so late at night? And in reality, he did get caught up in yesterday's incident. But John said there wasn't anything out of the ordinary, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's lying about that, too. Is that really the truth? Yeah, I think... There wasn't anything out of the ordinary. There are no mistakes in that testimony, correct? Of course there's no mistakes. It was just a normal, peaceful night. Nothing out of the ordinary happened at all. A peaceful night? How can you say that when an incident like this occurred? Okay, he is still a child. Please don't get seriously angry. So there was nothing out of the ordinary. He doesn't know anything at all about the incident? That's the impression I'm getting. But isn't there evidence that shows something did happen last night? Yes, I don't have time to waste dealing with a child's lies. Let's present the contradiction.
Objection!
There wasn't anything out of the ordinary? That's a lie, isn't it? We have evidence right here. Could that be... That's right, it's the video we recorded of your performance. What? You're telling me you have video from last night? Exactly. And in this video, there's clearly something that's out of the ordinary. This is a monster's footprint. Would you say that monster's footprints are commonplace on a film set? John, why did you conceal this video from us? No reason, really.
Not so fast!
Hey, pup, this is no joking matter. You had a reason to hide it, right? John Marsh, answer him clearly. But, Mom... Well... I didn't want anyone to see me rehearsing. In other words, you're embarrassed about others seeing you practice. Yeah, got a problem with that?
Not so fast!
You're saying that's why you hid the evidence? John. Yeah. Quit nagging me. You've already busted me. What more do you want? Yeah, the footprints were there, but I just practiced and headed home. How come you're so calm after finding those footprints? It's a monster, you know. A real live monster. I thought it was just part of the set. Besides, there's lots of other weird stuff around here, too. He's suspicious, Chief. This kid's really suspicious. You're right. The smell of a scoop stinks to high heaven. Shut up, we're done talking.
Objection!
We're not done here yet. What now? The monster's footprints were the only unusual things that happened last night. Besides the monster's footprints, what other unusual thing happened last night? Oh, okay.
Take that!
A monster's head fell from the roof of that building. Surely you must have known about that. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Is that true? I told you, I just practiced a bit and then I went back. I don't know anything about Mozilla's head falling or anything like that. Or do you have evidence to show that I know something? There certainly isn't any evidence of that. It's also possible that it fell after John had already gone back. At there's no evidence, then like I said, we're done talking. It seems that John doesn't really want to talk about last night. Could he be hiding something after all?
Not so fast.
Wait up. Agent Lang? It's as I thought. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. This video backs up my logic. Huh? Is there something in the video that's related to the case? Yeah, take a good hard look at the monster costume in the top left. Oh, you mean the Mozilla costume? Try comparing it with the one over there right now. You're talking about the hole in its back. Looks like it's just hanging there limply, though. And the zipper on its back is zipped up tightly. Okay, it's unzipped in the video, however. Zipper on its back. Oh, this discrepancy is... Yeah, the difference is plain to see. In the video, the zipper is clearly open. That's right, someone was inside. What? Mr. Powers, is the costume zipper usually... It's always zipped up tightly when it's not in use. Mr. Prosecutor, do you remember my logic from before? 2 nights ago, Courtney pushed the president off the roof and killed him. Afterwards, she snuck into the film lot to hide the body. In here? Wouldn't it be easy to hide a body in a costume or behind all this equipment? Then all she had to do last night was retrieve the body. You're saying the body was hidden inside the costume? Yeah, that's right. Judge Courtney, 2 nights ago you pushed the president off the roof of the tower. You then hid the body inside the monster costume, but didn't we establish that she couldn't have entered the set? I did no such thing.
Not so fast.
Say what you want, but you're the only one who could have done it.
Objection.
That should have already been proven impossible. The film lot was locked at the time. Judge Courtney could not have entered this place.
Not so fast.
And what if there was an accomplice? What? Oh! The cast members know the combination. John being one of them, so he could have told her. When the president was pushed off the roof, John was waiting at the film lot. If John was an accomplice, the problem with the locks would be resolved. The two of them then hid the president's body inside that monster costume over there. You think this crime had such an elaborate plan? To take the life of a nation's president. An elaborate plan is to be expected, don't you think?
Overruled!
John would never take part in such a crime.
Not so fast.
You're the one being suspected. Your words don't carry much weight. I wouldn't think those two had sufficient motive for something like this, though. Well, maybe they had a motive that we didn't know about. You were the last one to meet with the president, and you're still keeping the details secret. Don't you think it's only natural that you're being suspected? Judge Courtney, is there no way for you to tell us your secret? My apologies. I just cannot, no matter what. However, when the time I can talk about it comes, I will surely let you know. So if you could please. Believe you? Is that what you wanted to say? That's what all criminals say. And you, pup. If you've got an explanation, hurry up and spit it out. I didn't do nothing. That's all I'm saying. Both mother and son won't talk. You're still going to defend him like this? It's true Judge Courtney's actions are a mystery. However, we still don't know whether or not that ties in with a motive for murder. Yeah, that's right. Their motive for murder can wait. For now, let's talk about the situation surrounding the crime. And the fact that these two were the only ones who could have done it.
Hold it!
How would that resolve the problem? I figured you'd ask that, Mr. Prosecutor, but you know, it's actually quite simple. Listen up. First, that woman pushes the president off the roof. She pushes him off. Then, that brat who knew the combination for the lock unlocks the film lock. I see, the combination unlocks the brat. Okay, it's the opposite. That's all it takes. With this, the problem of the lock is solved. Your theory that she couldn't get in because she didn't know the combination no longer flies. Regarding the lock, that certainly is a plausible explanation. But wasn't there a padlock on the other side? He would have needed the key for that, wouldn't he? Agent Lang, thank you for your clear explanation. Please, continue with what you were saying before. If you're gonna give up, you better do it now.
Hold it!
In the video, we can't see the inside of the costume. So can you really say for certain that the body was placed inside? Yeah, I'll give you that much. In that case, why don't we try examining it? The inside of that costume. There might be some traces left inside. Mr. Powers, may we examine the inside of the costume? Sure, go ahead. But it might be kind of stinky since I sweat a lot in there. This is incredibly dirty. What's all that shit inside, though? That's strange. We always make sure to clean it after using it so the sweat doesn't damage the costume.
Not so fast!
Isn't this just proof that someone besides you used this costume? I'd say the dirt from the body probably got into the costume. The president's body did fall on top of the monster's footprint. That must be where the dirt came from. Are you satisfied now? What about... that yellow stain? Where did he... First off, where did he get that, and...
Objection!
Wouldn't that be inside the costume as well? Dirt got into the costume when the body was hidden inside it. Is that really the case? You have a problem with that? There's a fair amount of dirt inside the front of the costume. Yeah, that is a lot of dirt. However, I'd like you to focus on the state the body is in. It's lying on top of the dirt, yet there's no dirt on the front of the body. If the body really was inside the costume, then it's strange that the front of the body isn't stained with more dirt. Well then, how would you explain it? How'd the dirt get inside the costume? From the video footage, it's very likely that someone was inside the costume. Just who could it have been? Where have I seen this? What's the matter, Kay? I just feel like I remember seeing something that looked like this dirt somewhere before. But where was it? There are these bits of gray fragments mixed in with the dirt. Yep. I know where you're getting at. There does seem to be something other than normal dirt mixed into it. Something must have gotten stuck to it, and lots of it. And lots of it, I might add. Something got stuck to it. This may merit a closer look. Where did we see dirt that looks like what's stuck on the inside of the costume? Those gloves again. Yeah, those little bits of... those little gray fragments.
Take that!
This dirt has some gray bits mixed into it. Huh? And what of it? We found an item belonging to a certain man that was covered in the same type of dirt. That is to say, these gloves. Those dirt stains certainly look the same, but tell me, just what exactly is this gray substance? Gray substances. Concrete. The gray substance must be fragments of concrete. You mean the stuff that was scattered around the monster's footprints? Is that what happened? Is that what created the monster footprints, then? Or rather, belonging to whoever created them. So did Blaze use this to dig up those... to dig up those monster prints? Meanwhile, who do these gloves, which are stained with the same kind of dirt, belong to? Oh, I remember. We found it at Blaze's place. Earlier today, we went to Blaze's garage. There, we discovered these dirt-stained gloves. Come to think of it, there were also hammers, shovels, and other tools placed inside as well. Ah, there we go. Why would mechanics gloves intended to be used on machines be covered in dirt? If he broke the concrete with a hammer and dug into the soil with a shovel, then it's only natural for dirt like that to get on the gloves. Then maybe... Yes, the true nature of the monster's footprints has been made clear. It's possible that these footprints were dug up by Blaze de Best himself.
Not so fast!
possible? It's possible, you say? Please do enlighten me. Because I honestly have no clue. Why on earth would he do something like that? Why did he make the monster footprints? Thinking about it, the answer must be... Was he trying to dig something up? It's possible he was digging something up. It probably went something like this. Last night at this spot, there was something that Blaze needed to dig up. For that reason, he broke the lock on the back door and sneaked into the film lot. Using the hammer and shovel, he set to work. He placed the items he dug up into his bag, but before he could fill in the holes, John showed up. Ah, that's when John came to practice, so he hid in the suit. And the reason the zipper was open was obviously because he couldn't close the zipper from inside the costume. Exactly. Blaze panicked and had no choice but to hide in the Mozilla costume nearby. I think he would deduce so much from just a pair of dirt-stained gloves. However, all this is merely a possibility. There's still no proof that he was the one who was hiding inside the costume. For all we know, he might have left the scene once he finished digging.
Objection!
On the contrary, such proof does exist, and can be seen in the video. When this video was recorded, Blaze was definitely inside the film lot. What? Though I can't blame Agent Lang for not noticing. The difference between the current film lot... Oh, that thing next... That thing between the costume and the door. The one in John's video. Along with the state of Blaze's garage. It's all too clear that Blaze was still here. Oh, that... What proves Blaze was still at the film lot when this video is recorded? This.
Take that!
This bag placed near the costume. There's an identical one inside Blaze's garage. First the dirt on the gloves, now the bag. It seems there's a connection. And that's my proof. Blaze was inside the costume. Ergo, the president's body could not have been hidden inside of it. Seems I was able to refute Agent Lang's reasoning. Someone needs to go to investigate Blaze's house right away, pal. We need to know what was inside that bag. Yes, sir. Y'all pipe down and listen up. Y'all just been saying whatever works best for y'all. Oh, what the hell do you want? And the noisy one returns. There's the footprints of the mighty Mozilla. They ain't just some random holes dug up by that old coot. Oh my god, are you still... I believe the true nature of those footprints has already been proven quite logically. Logic schmogic, I ain't buying it. Say what you want, but I know what I saw, and I saw Mozilla. Is she referring to how she saw Mozilla out the window of the Grand Tower? Preposterous. Upon our journalists' goals, we ain't having none of it. That statement's an insult to journalists everywhere. Ah, that's right. There's more of them monsters than just those footprints. I remember hearing that Sunny over there was seen with a monster earlier. I reckon that gal over there said she witnessed it herself. You're saying when those two are together, all meaningful talk grinds to a halt. If we only knew just what the monster really was, I think those two would quiet down. Mr. Edgeworth, isn't there anything you can do? The monster's true identity. We don't have much choice. Let's see what we can do. Isn't there something y'all ain't telling us about the monster? Hey, Cole, ask him. Ask him right now.
Hold it!
Please settle down. Regarding the true identity of that monster, I already know what it is. What'd you say? Do? That's right. The video John recorded provided the hint that I needed. What you talking about? Ms. Nichols saw Gordy when she went to check up on John's practice. At that time, she mistook something for Gordy. The monster can be seen in this photograph. Something with... Huh. And not Mozilla either, but... Is... What, ain't they just some plain old souvenir photo? Y'all don't really think you can pull the wool over the eyes of a pro like me, do you? What did Miss Nichols really see that she mistook for Gordy? Is it this?
Take that!
Cause didn't she say it's covered by a tarp? Naturally, Gordy's true identity was this camera crane. That makes sense, then. What? The video John recorded was shot from fairly high up. A shot from this position would be impossible without a camera crane. Oh, okay. But there ain't no way Miss Nichols would mistake a camera crane for Gordy.
Objection!
I wonder about that. Miss Nichols. Yes? Earlier, you said the prescription for your glasses didn't match your eyesight anymore, correct? Oh, that's right. Yes, lately it seems like my eyesight has suddenly gotten a lot worse. So would you say that you weren't able to see Gordy very clearly in the dark? That's right. Its silhouette was all I could make out. But remember what Miss Nichols said, and I quote, its skin was really scaly, almost like a reptile. Camera cranes ain't got no flesh on them, let alone skin. It's just a bare steel frame. That is certainly true, at least in the case of this photo. However, last night it did have skin. Y'all just doing whatever you can to get in the way of our big scoop, ain't ya? That was not my intention. But since I've come this far, it's time to put an end to your nonsense. Gordy's skin is right before our very eyes. Yeah, that tarp.
Take that!
As Miss Nichols stated in her testimony earlier, it looked like it was going to rain last night. While it never actually rained, John still covered the camera crane with a rainproof sheet, which to Ms. Nichols looked like a monster's skin. What? You gotta be kidding me. Isn't that right, John? Man, you saw through it all. Not bad, old man. Unfortunately, the Gordy that Ms. Nichols saw was nothing more than an illusion. Not again. Looks like my dream has shriveled up and died once again. Mentor. Seems like things have finally settled down. I really thought the boy was hiding something from me. Guess I had it all wrong. Now that we've figured out the true form of the monster, everyone seems refreshed. Actually, there's two people here who are totally bummed out. Agent Lang! The report is in, sir. We've got the results of President Wong's autopsy. Oh, good. Hopefully that clears up a few things. Good. Show it to me. Contusions and bone fractures found across the body, resulting from tremendous pressure. So this was the cause of death. In other words, he was crushed to death. Would that be consistent with falling off a building? I thought as much. Time of death, April 5th at around 11 p.m. So it was the previous night. The yellow stain on his chest is currently under investigation. But it seems that gunpowder residue was found on his right hand. Sunflower residue? I didn't know the president was into gardening. Kay, please check your ears. No, gunpowder residue. Traces of it are left behind when a gun is fired. Since it's been found on his right hand, it's possible the president fired a gun. A gun, huh? But we didn't find any guns when we investigated this area. Unexplained gunpowder residue. I'll have to look over the autopsy report later. Unless the killer took it with them. Now then, Agent Lang, it seems we have our answer. President did not die from falling off the roof of the Grand Tower. Rather, he died from being crushed under Mozilla's head. I can't deny it. Looks like your logic was right after all. This means the suspicions surrounding Miss Courtney should be cleared up, right? Yes, not only the cause of death, but the time of death proves her innocence as well. Judge Courtney met with the president 2 nights ago. However, according to the autopsy report, the time of death was around 11 p.m. last night. Mozilla's head also fell last night. It matches up perfectly. That's a relief. But then how did the head get back up on the roof? Isn't it a bit too early to be relieved? Agent Lang. The president died after being crushed by the Mozilla's head. That I will admit. But the problem is, who was responsible for the falling head? Mozilla's head fell last night. And last night the one who was at the film lot was... What are you saying? Surely you're not implying... That's right, you killed him, didn't you? Oh, is he saying John did it? John Marsh? That pup is hiding something. He was at the scene where the body was discovered last night. He also saw the footprints. And despite that, he still claims to know absolutely nothing about the incident. Isn't that a bit too convenient?
Objection!
Those footprint-shaped holes haven't been proven to be related to the case. Just because he saw the holes doesn't necessarily mean that he's involved in the incident. Sure about that. Let's take a look at the pup's face. He looks pretty shaken up to me. Looks like he hit the mark, but John doesn't want to talk about it. I mean, he is a kid, now being accused of murder. Not to mention he just went through a kidnapping. If he doesn't feel like talking, then I have an idea of my own. Let's check the tape. Agent Lang, what is your intention? The police have a device that lets you analyze the video footage up close and personal. Agent Lang, you suspect John enough to go that far. As long as John's lips are sealed. This may be the only way for us to get closer to the truth. Detective Gumshoe, if I'm not mistaken, you have that device with you, correct? Mr. Analysis is ready to go, sir. Oh, we're gonna do this again. Now we're talking. Prosecutor Edgeworth, would you please perform the video analysis for us? Who knows what kind of faults that Wolfman will find in it? This isn't exactly my strong suit, but I suppose I have no choice. Any new clues that show up? Oh! Who is this? Who's this shirtless dude here? This is... What's the matter? I want to see too. Ah! Hey, what's wrong? Show it to me. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I request you submit the evidence to the court. Please take a look at the top right corner of the zoomed-in video. This person is... the president! impossible! No way! It seems we finally found it at last. The evidence that points to the true killer. This video places John at a major disadvantage. You're wrong. That's not right. I didn't know anything about this. That's not gonna cut it. It's clear that you and the victim were together at the same place where his body was later found. John Marsh, there's no doubt you killed the president. No, this can't be. Why would you... John, please don't tell me. Did you really kill the president? Mr. Edgeworth, is this really decisive evidence? We'll see, but give me a few minutes and we'll uncover more of this. Alright, so... Now Lang seems to suspect John of being the killer. And we found some evidence showing Wong was there during his practice. Mr. Prosecutor, looks like even you can't object to this. That pup said he didn't know anything, right? Yet the president's right here in the video. John, what are you hiding? John, please tell us the truth. The truth is, it's all my fault. John Marsh, what did you do? Mozilla's head falling was all my fault. While I was setting up the equipment on the roof, I used the heater. After that, I went down to practice, but I forgot to turn it off. Then my mom called me, so I left the film set. When I came back to the lot, after the phone call was over, Mozilla's head that was on the roof had fallen. And right next to it was the president, lying dead on the ground. How can that be? I see. There were indeed traces that something had caught fire on the rooftop. It was just a small fire, so I was able to put it out by myself. So the president's death was John's fault? But wouldn't that make this an accident, sir? And then what did you do with the fallen head? I took it apart, brought the pieces up to the roof, and put it back together. Yeah, Yeah, she did say that, somebody who knows how can move the head easily if they disassemble it and put it back together.
Not so fast!
So you put out the fire and even put the fallen head back on the roof. Which means you were hiding evidence. We can't be having that, you naughty little pup. I didn't do it on purpose. I really did just forget to turn off the heater. When the legs broke, the stand would have tilted. If Mozilla's head was on top of the stand, it would have fallen off. So the head fell down because of the fire. Yes, and if that's the case, I also have a pretty good idea what caused the fire. There's a flammable can next to the heater. It seems someone is lacking in safety awareness.
Not so fast!
Was it really just an accident? If that's the truth, then what was the president doing here? I don't know. There was no one else around when I was there. You expect me to believe that? The president wouldn't have just come to a place like this without a reason, you know. Indeed. The president's reason for coming here is still a huge mystery. Was he after the same thing? I wonder, was he after the same thing that Blaise was after? Whatever Blaise was after that was supposedly buried here. Was he after the same thing? Maybe that's why maybe he was only pretending to be a fan so he could try and get access to the set. I wonder. Two nights ago, he met with Judge Courtney on the roof of the Grand Tower. And last night, he was here at the film lot. Did he meet with John? have to listen to John's testimony very carefully. John, you're still young. I know it can get a little cold in early spring, but you shouldn't have to resort to a heater. And it would be kind of useless up there on the roof anyway, wouldn't it? It's precisely because he's young that he must make sure to take good care of himself. However, while it can get a bit chilly during this time of year, I wouldn't necessarily say, "Hold it, old man. Is this really the right time to be having this argument?" Ugh. He's completely right. John, you did well to get the better of Mr. Edgeworth, but please mind your language. Let's not forget that he got the better of you too, Your Honor. I know, Mom. So, where was I? Having practice, but forgot to turn it off. So I left the film on. Phone call was over. His head. The rooftop had fallen. And frightening. President laying dead on the ground. Let me hear about this. What was the state of the body? I didn't get a good look because it was dark. Suddenly become as quiet as a mouse. Guess John doesn't really want to remember anything about the body. Is that the only reason why he's gone so quiet? Should I press him for more details? You didn't get a good look. Then how did you know he was dead? That's... well... He's clearly shaken. He must be hiding something. Wouldn't you normally call for help if you see someone collapse on the ground? However, you did nothing of the sort. But he was already dead. Is that so? You seem quite certain the president was already dead. Now, is there a reason for that, I wonder? The guy was collapsed on the ground, and right next to him was the fallen monster's head. I'm not stupid. It wasn't hard to imagine what happened. You can imagine whatever you want, but there was no way for you to know that he was dead. You actually checked to make sure the president was dead, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. I was scared, but I got up close to the body and checked to see if he was breathing. I thought as much. However, why would he hide that? There must be a reason. Please tell me the state of the body at that time. At first, I didn't know he was dead. I would have realized sooner if there had been any blood. But there wasn't a single drop, and his clothes were completely spotless. Aha! Then that yellow powder wasn't there. Either way, he wasn't breathing. That's how he knew he was already dead. Will you please append those statements to your testimony? No blood and his clothes were spotless. His clothes were spotless. Yeah, that's right. You got a problem with it, old man? John, it's painfully obvious that you're desperately trying to hide something from me. What are you going on about? I'm not hiding anything! You're hiding something about this yellow stain on the president's clothes, correct? Gee. Why'd you leave it entirely out of your testimony? The fact that you made no mention of it only serves to cast more suspicion upon yourself. Yeah, that's because... I hope you have a convincing explanation.
Overruled!
Huh? Oh, does she not want us badgering her son? Judge Courtney? Allow me to explain. Why are you? The yellow stain left on the president's chest is almost certainly lion lily pollen. Pollen? Lion lily? When I met with the president on the roof of the Grand Tower 2 nights ago, I brought him a bouquet of lion lilies. Lion lilies are beautiful flowers with stunning golden petals. Some of the pollen from the lilies must have gotten on the president's suit. Huh? But... I didn't see any lilies in the security footage, though. They were simply obscured by the president's body. Oh, is she holding them? Why did you bring a bouquet? That, I cannot say. She still doesn't want to talk about her reason for meeting with him.
Not so fast!
Hey, you're keeping way too many secrets. You won't tell us why you met with the president, or the reason you brought him flowers. My apologies. However, I did give him the bouquet. That much is true.
Objection!
But when the president's body was discovered, we didn't find any flowers. I honestly don't know how that could be. Did the killer take those? Why would they do that? Hey, Miss Judge. All your answers have been too vague. You can't say this and you don't know that. Do you accept flimsy testimony like that in your trials? Hey, cut it out! Oh, he's sticking up for his mom. I threw the flowers away. Huh? You threw them away? So there were flowers near the body when you found it? Yeah, that's right. They were right on top of the president's body. They'd been crushed as flat as pancakes, though. I see, so the flowers were squashed by Mozilla's head, too. And a large amount of pollen got stuck to the president's suit. That seems to be the gist of it. However, why did you go out of your way to dispose of the flowers? No reason. He's clamming up too. So John's not going to tell us anything either. I guess mother and son both have a lot of secrets, huh?
Overruled!
That is not true. At the very least, I can tell you why John threw away those flowers. Huh? John, you saw me leaving the house with those flowers in hand, did you not? And he realized that he was the intended recipient. I get it. John saw the flowers and thought of his mom. He threw the... Oh, because he thought they would suspect... He thought they would suspect her. He threw them away in order to protect Judge Courtney from being suspected. That's not true! You're all wrong! That was his worst lie yet. I often decorate our house with those flowers. The bouquet must have reminded him of me.
Not so fast.
So the pup just happens to find the flowers from his mother's bouquet on top of the body. That's why he threw them away and kept silent about the body. Ha! That's a tiny little story if I've ever heard one. And what's wrong with that? I suppose you prefer untidy, messy stories, Agent Lang. Don't tell me you've forgotten already, Missy. This pup confessed that he caused the monster's head to fall last night. Oh, that's true, but he's currently the only suspect in the president's murder.
Objection.
It's true there are many reasons to suspect John. However, there's someone other than John who's far more suspicious. What'd you say? John himself was kidnapped by that very person not too long ago. And we rescued him from the refrigerated warehouse near the harbor, pal. A refrigerated warehouse. That's right, pal. The refrigeration wasn't turned on, so he wasn't about to freeze to death. But if he hadn't yelled out for help, we would never have found him. Once the sleeping drugs wore off, he was finally able to call out for help. Sleeping drugs, huh? If I recall correctly, when were you kidnapped? That's right, there was a bottle lying on the floor of the refrigerated warehouse. I think it was the same thing that was used on me not long ago. That Sleepy Z stuff. It's super powerful. The same sleeping drug, huh? How about it, Agent Lang? John is clearly a victim. There's a mastermind at work behind the scenes of this case.
Not so fast.
I don't know anything about this so-called mastermind. You say they were here last night? I still don't know for sure yet. Ha! It's not like you would be so vague, Mr. Prosecutor. Indeed, I still don't have any evidence that ties the mastermind to this murder. Is there someone else? Is there anyone besides John who had the opportunity to murder the president? If Blaze was hiding in the suit, yeah. That's it. As I thought, in the end, that pup is our only suspect.
Objection.
Isn't there one more suspect, Agent Lang? What's this? Didn't we prove it earlier? Last night there was one more person here. Blaze the Best. You're saying he's the one who did it? Last night John wasn't alone. Blaze the Best was here too. Should we consider him to be a new suspect? Blaze the Best killed the president? It's entirely possible. You said that he and Roland killed members of the Lang clan too, right? 12 years ago? Blaze the Best. Can't be. The same guy from 12 years ago? 12 years ago. That keeps popping up. Well, a lot has changed. It all happened over 12 years ago. Back then, he and my old man were close friends, and our clan protected the president's life. Lang, don't tell me you're the one from 12 years ago. You got it. Ain't this nice? Now you're finally going to prison, where you belong. 12 years ago is a long time coming for a suspended sentence, don't you agree? Agent Lang, what happened 12 years ago? Nothing that concerns you. On the contrary, it might just have some sort of connection with this case.
Not so fast.
And I suppose you have some proof, Mr. Prosecutor. Show me evidence that there's a connection between this case and the one 12 years ago. Evidence, you say? Okay. And this supposed letter also says 12 years ago. I don't know if that's what we want. Where was that? Ah, yes. And apparently Knightley's involved in this as well. If you don't have any evidence, then there's no point in talking about it. Is there any evidence that connects this case with what happened 12 years ago?
Take that.
This is a report written by Patricia Rowland to Blaze to Best regarding Knightley. Please read this part here. That thing he laid to rest near the flower bed 12 years ago? That's not all. Take a look at this as well. This letter was sent to Jill Crane, who was murdered 2 days ago. Although the sender is currently unknown, here it's written as follows. Please get revenge for 12 years ago. What, 12 years ago? Agent Lang, something big is happening here. Jill Crane's murder 2 days ago, and now the President's murder today. There has to be some connection there. And the key to solving it lies in what happened 12 years ago, does it not? You're asking me to reopen the old wounds of the Lang clan. Agent Lang, I beg of you. Now what? Who was that just now? Shifu! Guys, what are you all doing here? We followed you here, Shifu. We heard that Shifu was investigating the incident from 12 years ago. You idiots! I'm not your boss anymore. Get back to your own posts. Sir, we can't do that. What'd you say? Are you disobeying my order? Shifu, we also beg of you. Reinvestigate the Ss5 incident from 12 years ago. None of us could ever forget that case. We know you feel the same way, Shifu. Agent Lang, even your former subordinates desire to reinvestigate the case. And you think you can solve the mysteries of that case? Perhaps I can, with your help. I got it. I accept your invitation. Now then, with that decided, I guess it's my turn to shine. Okay. We're investigating a case from the past, right? And guess what the best tool for that is? Little Mr. Thief. Right! If we have the case files from the past case, I can recreate it. Unfortunately, I don't have the case files. Huh? What do you mean? Access to those case files is restricted. It's being treated as highly classified information. Why is that? I don't know, but it seems like there were a lot of things that they wanted to keep hidden. Even what I know is limited to what was published in the newspapers back then. That'll not be a problem. In any case, please tell us what you know. Sure. The Ss5 Incident. The incident occurred on a winter day 12 years ago. It was the 10th of February. Things are about... The police department in this country received a call from a group of kidnappers. We've kidnapped President Wong, they said. Here, 12 years ago? The Ss5 Incident was the case of President Wong's kidnapping. They demanded a ransom of $100 million. Sorry, I had to. 100 million? Wait, just how much is that? Such a large amount, she's having trouble visualizing it. That night, my old man was the last person to meet with the president. Oh yeah, big boss there. They were together at the Ss5 embassy until midnight on February 10th. After that, no one knows what the president was doing up until he was kidnapped. With the president's life at stake, the Ss5 government frantically gathered the money. After that, the ransom was delivered, and the president was returned safe and sound. So President Wong has been the president since 12 years ago? That's pretty amazing. Well, being in office for so long is just a small part of how amazing the man is. Lang seemed a bit happy when he said that. And what happened to the kidnappers? Well, a top-secret covert investigation was carried out. Then a secret trial was held. A trial? Does that mean the suspect was caught? The suspect was Patricia Rowland. Huh. Then the reason you came to the prison a few days ago... Yeah. I was put on extended leave from Interpol. So I decided to go back and reinvestigate what happened 12 years ago. First, I had to get a look at the face of my target. So the trial 12 years ago ended with a not guilty verdict. Yeah. Back then, my old man was in charge of every aspect of the president's security. He took responsibility for the kidnapping, and was relieved of his post as bodyguard. I see. But he continued to investigate as a regular police officer until he finally found the culprit. And it was none other than Patricia Rowland. There was no way she could be innocent. However, the result was a not guilty verdict. In the end, the case went unsolved. Crushed in both body and soul, my old man resigned from the police. What was the basis for arresting Patricia Rowland? There was a lot of evidence. At least that's what I think. But I can't see those documents for myself. So that's where my story ends. I wonder if Blaze was a part of this as well. Did he conceal that evidence? So that's where my story ends. what should we do? With only this much information. Even the little thief would have a hard time producing a recreation. Is there really nothing we can do? Looks like you could use some help. Who's that? Oh, Ray and Francie are here. Francisco. Mr. Shields. We finished up with the trial and finally managed to catch up with you guys. Here, take this. This is... Oh, it's the case files for the Ss5 incident, sir! Francie was able to get them? Oh, damn girl. When Roland mentioned 12 years ago during the trial, it caught my interest. I looked into it immediately and got in touch with Interpol. I expected no less from you, Francisca. Don't get the wrong idea, Miles Edgeworth. I didn't prepare these documents for you, the former prosecutor. I did it for the sake of the investigator taking up the case his father left behind. Sis, but I thought information on the Ss5 incident was restricted to the public. That restriction was placed by the prosecutor in charge of the case, Blaise de Best. Blaise de Best was the prosecutor in charge? Him? However, as a result of the trial just now, Blaise's authority has been revoked. It's all thanks to his son. Sebastian? By bringing down his father, the door to this past case has been opened. Prosecutor de Best is currently wrapping up things up in Patricia Rowland's trial. He told me to relay this message to you. Leave Pops and his cohorts to me. You guys just take care of the case on your end. He's become quite reliable, right before our very eyes. Truly. Yeah. Again, I thought he was stuck up and obnoxious at first, but I think that was mostly due to just having a really shitty dad. Alrighty then. This is perfect. Now that we have the files, just leave the recreation to me. Indeed. Well then, let us begin. According to these documents, it appears the incident took place right in front of the Tower Plaza. So, same location. Let's head to the plaza right away. Do we have it? Okay, would you please activate the little thief? Okay, here we go. President of Zhengfa, Dijun Wong, was kidnapped on February 10th, 12 years ago. The kidnappers demanded a ransom of $100 million. Dailong Lang confirmed that, on the night of the incident, the president was at the Zhengfa embassy until midnight. Prosecutor Blaise de Best, suspect Patricia Rowland. Okay, that's right. Right. These case files, recreating everything should be a snap. Where should I start? Where indeed? According to these documents, it seems there was a witness to the kidnapping of the president. A freelance journalist by the name of Jack Cameron. However, he happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and was murdered by the culprit. So that would mean the place he saw the president at was here. Here? At the Grand Tower? No, the Grand Tower was only built around a year ago, Kay. Before that, this place contained mostly old abandoned buildings. However, 12 years ago, this place was... Ha! Now you're finally talking about some stuff that I know. Yeah, 12 years ago, this very spot was... the Happy Family Home. What's that, pal? It was a place where children who lost their parents could live. Or to put it simply, it was an orphanage. So the president was kidnapped at that orphanage. And the head of that facility at the time was Patricia Rowland. Apparently Rowland always referred to it as her home. Oh, the same way she referred to the prison. It seems the suspicion would naturally fall upon her. Patricia Rowland, Blaisdell Best, and President Wong. The darkness that remains from the Ss5 incident still casts a shadow on the present case. Okay, I'd like you to input the investigation data from Jack Cameron's murder case. We can probably assume that he was killed by one of the kidnappers. So if we solve the murder case, we'll know who the kidnappers were, right? Precisely. I'm counting on you. What the heck is this? Everything's green. I've come to expect such reactions. This is a recreation of the grounds of the facility that stood here 12 years ago. Based on the documents from the police investigation. I recreated the scene to show what it looked like when police arrived at 7 a.m. the next day. It appears a fair amount of snow is piled up here. Yeah, I heard the footprints in the snow were prime pieces of evidence. The snow fell during the day, on the day of the incident. So the snow only fell before the crime took place, which means the footprints wouldn't have been erased by any further snow. I must make sure to pay close attention to those footprints. These footprints stop near the body. They must be Mr. Cameron's footprints. He shares some big feet. They look like a size 11. According to the data, his shoes match those footprints. Okay. Examine the body. So this is the eyewitness of the president's kidnapping, Jack Cameron. What exactly did he witness? I've recreated the state of his body based on the photos taken by the police. Ah, that flower next to the body jumps out at me too. One of those same flowers. It appears he was struck in the head from behind. The murder weapon was a brick, right? Looks like the ones from the garden. Blood that flowed from his head is splattered all over the surroundings. Here, take this. It's Mr. Cameron's autopsy report. Time of death, February 10th, around 1 a.m. This is the brick that was used as the murder weapon. You find bricks like this all over the garden. They must have used one of them as a weapon. Jack Cameron was a freelance journalist. He was killed because he witnessed the president's kidnapping. The blood really stands out in the recreation. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Even the original photo looks brutal enough. A lot of blood was spilled. The back of his head is covered in blood. That must be where all the blood spilled from. According to the autopsy report, he was struck in the back of the head with a brick. Indeed. It's likely the killer approached Mr. Cameron from behind. Is the victim holding something in his right hand? That's also written in the case files. Seems he was holding onto a button. A button? Did he tear it off the culprit's clothes? So I guess he fought with his attacker. A yellow flower's fallen here. In the language of flowers, it means a stolen treasure. Okay, please stop making things up. Still, this flower seems to be of a different variety from the ones growing nearby. Well then why is it in a place like this? This bothers me a little. We should examine the flower bed itself after this. I knew it! Someone must have stolen this from somewhere and brought it here. Okay. In the language of flowers, this means an angry prosecutor. I assume this is the victim's cell phone. That's right. Apparently Mr. Cameron gave his eyewitness testimony over the cell phone. Oh, what do you mean by over his cell phone? After Cameron found the president, it seems he called his girlfriend. But she didn't answer the phone, so Cameron left a message on her answering machine. The tape is in the case files too. You want to hear it? Please. Hello, Jill? Are you asleep already? I'm in front of the facility now, but something's not right. President Wong is here, of all places. And what's more... Crap, the light just went off. I can barely see a thing now. I can't believe it, but it almost looks like he's being kidnapped. I thought I'd let you know. Wump. Was that when he was hit? What was that sound at the end? Seems he was attacked while he was still on the phone. Agent Lang, may I ask? What was the name of Mr. Cameron's... Jill! Oh. I'm pretty sure I heard her name was Jill Crane. There it is. There's her connection to this. So it was true. Did you say Jill? This was why she was seeking revenge for 12 long years. The feelings and the items Miss Crane inherited from her beloved brought her to the auction. She had come to exact revenge on the conductor, Blaze. But Ms. Crane tried to get revenge on Blaze, right? She may have wanted to get revenge on him for covering up the kidnapping case. Or perhaps she thought Blaze himself was the kidnapper. The victim was carrying a camera. Oh, according to the case files, it seems he only managed to take a single photo. Here it is. This is... Isn't that the president? He's being held at gunpoint. This must be the scene the victim witnessed. So the person in the coat must be the kidnapper. Indeed, seems like some sort of disguise. The logic of Agent Lang's father's correct. Then this person should be Patricia Rowland. But why is there only one photo? Perhaps he was killed before he could take any more. Strange that the killer wouldn't have taken the camera after killing him. If that was the case. Not sure there's anything. So they wanted to investigate the flower beds. A flower bed. According to the data, this facility had 3 gardens. And each of these gardens contained 3 flower beds. 3 gardens. Each one had 3 square-shaped flower beds. The way these flower beds are lined up. Have I seen this arrangement somewhere before? Since it was during the winter, there were no flowers in bloom. What a shame. What's this yellow flower? Why is there a single flower here? That is a lion lily. It's a very rare type of lily. Did you say lion lily? That's the flower Miss Courtney gave to the president. What's it doing here? Could it be just a coincidence? If I recall, the lion lily originates from Asia. In the language of flowers, it means the bond between parent and child. I never knew you were so familiar with flowers. It's not much as common sense, but simply lacking in your studies, Miles Edgeworth. So if this was... Okay, this is where the... This is where the flower... Three of them. Is this... Okay, that would make sense then if... Perhaps this is the true nature of the monster's footprints. True nature? Yes. That must be where those flower beds were. So maybe something was buried in them. Compare the positions of the 3 footprints and the 3 flower beds on the left. Yeah, the ones on the left where the film set was. The exposed areas of dirt match the areas where the flower beds were. So Blaze dug holes in front of where each of the 3 flower beds used to be. Okay, something was buried not in the flower beds, but in front of them. Exactly. Now, why would he do such a thing? I believe we have a piece of evidence that tells us why. Why did Blaze dig holes in the ground near the flower beds? Oh, because... Wait, what did it... This mentions something about That thing he laid to rest in front of the flower bed 12 years ago. You simply must retrieve it.
Take that!
The report from Patricia Rowland to Blaze to Best. It said that something was laid to rest in front of the flower bed. So Blaze was following Ms. Rowland's instructions to dig it up. But why would he dig up 3 holes? The report didn't state which of the 3 flower beds the item was in front of. Oh, so Blaze didn't know exactly where to dig. That's why he had to dig up all 3 spots. Most likely, yes. I'm sure Blaze himself was none too happy about that. He went through all that trouble. I wonder what he was trying to dig up. If we get a chance to see what was in that bag. What's up with this pillar? This pillar appears to be burned. According to the files, it seems there was a fire on the evening of the incident. A fire? Let's see here. Huh? It says one of the children at the orphanage spilled kerosene and set it on fire as a prank. Huh. I guess that kid had far too much energy. Thanks to that, we can't make out any of the footprints near the main hall. Yeah, because there's no snow around this spot, so we don't know where there was any. Now what about this set of footprints? The footprints here seem to lead to and from the body. These footprints were believed to be the culprits. The shoe size is about a size 7. That's fairly average. Seems you won't be able to tell who the culprit is from these footprints. Scruffy, don't you dare say a word. I'm warning you. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth, please help me, sir. What is it, Detective Gumshoe? It's about the story behind the Ss5 incident, sir. Even though Blaze may have lost his authority, there's no way you can get confidential documents this quickly. That got me curious, so I made a few calls and asked around. And I found out that Ms. Von Karma used all sorts of forceful tactics to... Scruffy, I thought I warned you! Hey! You've done a lot for us, Francisca. I promise I'll bring this to an end with my own hands. Three flower beds and snow. Agent Lang, what's the matter? Something strange. I wasn't able to read the Ss5 Incident case files until now, since Blaze had all access to that information restricted. Yeah, that's right. Yet I feel like I've seen this exact scene somewhere before. What do you mean? Where did I see this? If I could just remember. He looks deep in thought. I should leave him alone for a while. We've learned pretty much all we can about the situation at the time of the murder. I wonder if Lang was he one of the children at this orphanage? Was he adopted then? We've learned pretty much all we can about the situation at the time of the murder. Oh, in that case, is there another scene you'd like to recreate? Yes, would you do the honors? I'd like you to recreate the scene where the victim witnessed the president's kidnapping. Right, I'll recreate the scene based on Mr. Cameron's photo. Oh yeah, it must have been about right here. Because where that snowman was. Mr. Cameron is standing in the middle of the flower beds. And the president and his kidnapper are standing on the road. My old man based its initial investigation on this man's eyewitness testimony. As a result, it led him to believe that the kidnapping and this facility were related. And that's how he came to suspect the head of the orphanage, Patricia Rowland. Yeah. But in court, Blaise DeBest treated this testimony as if it meant nothing. Why would he do that? The president and his kidnapper weren't not standing inside the orphanage grounds. So a connection between the orphanage and the kidnapping was difficult to prove. I see. It's not like they were seen inside the orphanage after all. No matter how much evidence the detectives gather at the crime scene, it doesn't mean squat if the prosecutor won't use it in court. Blaise DeBest had some kind of connection with Patricia Rowland. I figured they had some sort of deal going on. In other words, you think that Blaise was one of the kidnappers. However, your father was convinced that Patricia Rowland was the culprit. Your father was a highly capable investigator, I presume. Might he have had some other basis for his conclusion besides the eyewitness testimony? Yeah, I figure he did, but I have no idea what it was. My old man never really talked much about this case. Agent Lang's father, Dilong Lang. President Wong's most trusted confidant. The truth he discovered was suppressed by Blaise DeBest. First, we must find that hidden truth. Cameron took a photo of the president from this spot. He also called Miss Crane, too. At that time, the kidnapper was already behind him, holding the mysterious brick. Okay, same thing then. This footprint stopped near the body. Okay, that's the same thing. President's kidnapper. Let's try drawing out whatever we can from their appearance. Right, I got it. Their appearance. First things first. The kidnapper threatened the president with a gun. Look at how they're holding the gun. It's like they're trying to show it off. Totally not cool. Unfortunately, we can't see the person's face because it's hidden by their coat and hat. Look at that pop collar. It's like they're trying to be all that. Totally not cool. Their body seems relaxed, suggesting they had a composed mental state. They even have one hand stuffed in their pocket, Totally not cool at all. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's stuff I've drawn out from their appearance. That may be true, but... Dijun Wong. 12 years ago, he was still president of Zhang Fa. Doesn't he seem a bit younger? Though it might be hard to tell since it's so dark. Well, that's obvious. Indeed, and with the situation being what it was, his facial expression seems a bit strained. I wonder where the president was taken after this. We don't know that yet. However, the answer to that question lies here. It should become clear when we continue the investigation. And I did notice this snowman, too, in the picture. About this snowman. When we recreated the scene where Mr. Cameron was killed, it had already melted. Its scarf was all soggy, and one of its button eyes was missing. Button, huh? Indeed, at this stage it appears that most of its original form is still intact. Although there's one spot that looks unnaturally lacking. Poor thing, I bet some naughty kid must have plucked it off. Or did... Although from a thief's perspective, that kid does have some promise. Was it plucked off by one of the children at the orphanage? No, perhaps, I think... it was taken by an entirely different person altogether. Yeah. Damn it, there we go. Okay. The snowman. Wouldn't you say it's missing something? Ah, its right eye is missing. Precisely. And what's more, that missing eye happens to be in our possession. Why would he take that button, though? The button that Mr. Cameron was holding on to. It's got the exact same design as the snowman's left eye. If we assume this button was indeed the snowman's eye, a huge contradiction arises. If this button is the snowman's eye, what contradiction arises? It must have been the victim's. The victim was holding onto the button. Furthermore, the button was stained with blood. In other words, he grabbed the button after he was attacked. For example, if we were to picture it this way. After being struck in the back of the head, Mr. Cameron lost his balance. As he was falling, he reached out his hand toward the nearby snowman. However, it couldn't support his weight, and he collapsed while still grasping the button. Huh? That means... Mr. Cameron was near the snowman when he was attacked. Indeed. At the very least, he must have been within arm's reach. However, it's quite clear that he would not have been able to reach it from his current position. But Mr. Cameron's footprints only lead toward the flower bed. Can we be certain that these footprints really are Mr. Cameron's? It seems only to investigate them one more time. Understood. I'll recreate the time the body was discovered scene one more time. These footprints should match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes, right? Let's inspect them again. These shoes should match the footprints. However, these shoes, it seems like they're not the ones originally worn by the victim. What do you mean? If you look closely, you'll see the laces were tied up strangely. And the size doesn't seem to fit quite right either. Huh. So somebody put different shoes on him? That would mean these huge footprints leading up to the victim's feet were most likely made by someone other than the victim. So then the footprints leading to and from the victim's head must be Mr. Cameron's. But then what's with the... Why is all the blood on the ground here and not back in front of... It should be in front of the snowman, right? Wait, that's why the snowman was melted. Because it must have fallen on the snow, and they melted the snow to get rid of the blood, I'll bet. Something like that. No, not necessarily. They seem a little too small to be the victim's footprints. So none of the footprints are his? Then which way did Mr. Cameron walk from? It's quite simple. The victim didn't walk here on his own accord, but rather, he was carried here after he was murdered by the culprit. Huh. The question now becomes where he was killed and carried from. Perhaps it was near the snowman after all. Oh man, this is getting nuts. Mr. Cameron's body was moved. If we consider the button he was holding on to, it's highly likely that he was killed near this snowman. I should take a closer look. This snowman's become a sad sight to look at. It can't be helped. Snow and ice both melt away with time. Just like the mysteries of the cases you've solved, Mr. Edgeworth. As time passes, those mysteries melt away while you continue to keep your cool. You do realize I'm racking my brain trying to solve these mysteries during a case. There's some size 7 footprints going back and forth. According to the police files, those are the culprit's footprints. Agreed. Indeed, they seem to grow faint and disappear as they approach the road. There's not much snow left on the road after all. As expected, it'll be difficult to determine who these footprints belong to. And what about this spot that it's missing a brick? Huh, there's a brick missing here. The rest are all in order. Strange that only this one's missing. So there was... They got it from there. Perhaps the missing brick was the one used as the murder weapon. Ah, yeah, it seems to be just the right size to fit in that gap perfectly. also. If we suppose that Blaze was one of the kidnappers, it becomes more likely that what he dug up yesterday is connected to the abduction. What is it? I figured it out! It was treasure! Treasure! Couldn't Blaze have dug up the ransom money? The $100 million ransom. Buried in the ground until the heat had died down. It's certainly possible. I know, right? So is that the reason? And now... As I thought, it seems the murder actually occurred near the snowman. Both the button Mr. Cameron was holding and the murder weapon came from here. Indeed. Also, if we assume that the killer picked up the brick near the snowman, and then tried to sneak up behind Mr. Cameron. Oh, Mr. Cameron totally would have seen the person picking up the brick. Exactly. Okay, please update the recreation. Mr. Cameron wasn't in the middle of the flower beds, but near the snowman. Okay, I'm on it. No matter how you look at it, this is strange. Yeah, I know. Why would... They wouldn't have been there. So that... All the people involved in the case are gathered in the same place. Did we make a mistake here or something? One piece of evidence this recreation is based on is odd. If I had to choose which piece of evidence is fake, is it... Then this picture would make no sense. Because it clearly shows them... It clearly shows them in front of the snowman.
Take that!
Was this photo really taken by Mr. Cameron? Huh? What do you mean? We've proven that whoever killed Mr. Cameron also moved the body. For what reason would they have to deliberately move his body? Perhaps the culprit wanted to falsify the scene that Mr. Cameron witnessed. Alright, but... give me a few seconds. I have a feeling there's still a lot left to this case, so give me a moment and I'll be back in a